In 2006, Vanity Fair photographed Tom Cruise at his Colorado ranch holding his newborn daughter, Suri. It looked like the perfect life. But 6 years later, Katie Holmes used a disposable phone and 3 different law firms to escape that marriage in just 11 days. Tom was blindsided. He never returned to the ranch after that. When Suri turned 18 in 2024, she dropped his last name completely. Now, the man worth $600 million sits alone in a Clearwater penthouse while his daughter lives a life he knows nothing about. What really happened behind those gates? Tom Cruise entered the world on July 3, 1962, in Syracuse, New York. And from the very beginning, his life felt tense, unpredictable, and full of hidden bruises. His father, Thomas Mapother III, worked as an electrical engineer, yet whatever he built outside the house, he broke inside it. Tom later said he was a bully and a coward, someone who acted gentle for a moment, only to switch and strike when the children least expected it. Tom grew up waiting for those sudden shifts, never sure when a kick or slap would come next. The fear settled in him so deeply that even years later, when his father was dying of cancer and asked to see him, Tom agreed, but was told he could only visit if he promised not to bring up the past. That single rule made Tom realize nothing had changed. His father had controlled the fear, and Tom had carried the weight. The family kept moving, never staying long enough to form memories that felt safe. By age 14, Tom had already been through 15 different schools, and every move meant leaving behind any small streak of comfort he had managed to build. In late 1971, when he was 9, the family landed in Ottawa after his father took a job as a defense consultant with the Canadian Armed Forces. Tom tried to settle into Robert Hopkins Public School, then Henry Munro Middle School, but each new classroom brought new teachers, new rules, and the same sinking feeling that he was falling behind. This constant uprooting only made his struggle with severe dyslexia feel heavier. He described himself as someone who lived in a fog, someone who read a sentence and saw the letters turning into puzzles he could not solve. Other kids sensed it and mocked him for being short, for having crooked teeth, for stumbling over words. He began to believe he was stupid, and that belief clung to him for years. The pain hit even harder at home. His father was a special education teacher, yet instead of guidance, Tom received more ridicule and more hits. He graduated high school without attending his own ceremony, feeling unworthy even on that day. He learned to cheat by whispering to students who had already taken the test, copying their answers, trying to hide that he simply could not read like everyone else. Scripts, textbooks, even simple pages became hurdles he could not clear without help from his sisters and intense memorization tricks he developed in desperation. Then came a moment of courage inside his own home. In 1974, when Tom was 11, his mother, Mary Lee, finally left the marriage. She took Tom and his 3 sisters back to the United States and stepped into a life where survival meant stretching every coin. They lived off food stamps while Mary Lee juggled up to 3 jobs a day. Tom watched her drag herself through the door, exhausted, aching, but determined not to let her children drown in the mess they had escaped. He massaged her feet at night and promised himself he would help however he could. Childhood slipped away quickly. He began mowing lawns, delivering newspapers, and cleaning houses just to keep the family afloat. Every dollar he earned went to survival, not hobbies or teenage dreams. As the years dragged on, Tom kept searching for a path that felt steady. At 14, after a speech from a visiting priest, he raised his hand and joined St. Francis Seminary in Cincinnati, with the hope of becoming a Catholic priest. He wanted peace. He wanted structure. He believed the priesthood might give him both. His days were filled with chapel time, mass, and long conversations with priests who seemed calm in ways he had never known. One of his classmates remembered how they truly believed the priests lived a good and meaningful life. Yet even this sanctuary was brief. Tom was expelled after he and a friend were caught stealing liquor meant for a priest's celebration. Still, something important happened during those months. A drama teacher noticed the way Tom lit up on stage, how performing allowed him to speak without fear. By 1977, the seminary was behind him, but that spark carried forward. Wrestling became his next hope. In New Jersey at Glen Ridge High School, he trained hard enough to chase dreams of a college scholarship. Then, in 1979, a knee injury took everything from him in one terrible twist. He lost the sport, lost the plan, and felt the same emptiness he had felt many times before. While recovering, his drama teacher pushed him to audition for Guys and Dolls. Tom agreed reluctantly, then stunned himself when he landed the lead role. For the first time, applause replaced mocking laughter. That night changed him so suddenly that he made a quiet promise to himself. He gave himself 10 years to become a movie star. In 1980, at 18, he packed a small bag, grabbed the few $100s he had saved, and boarded a bus to New York City. He slept on couches and scrubbed dishes as a busboy, drifting from audition to audition with a mix of hope and desperation. Casting agents rejected him constantly. He was too short at 5'7", too inexperienced, too rough around the edges. His dyslexia made it nearly impossible to read scripts without help. But every rejection only reminded him that he had survived worse. He kept pushing, kept memorizing, kept rehearsing lines until they felt like muscle memory. That old pattern of starting over, learned through 15 childhood schools, now pushed him through each slammed door. Then, slowly, tiny cracks of light appeared. In 1981, he landed a 45-second role in Endless Love. It was small, almost forgettable, yet it opened a hallway that finally led somewhere. Later that year, he got a part in Taps, and everything shifted. Surrounded by actors like Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn, Tom tapped into a fierce intensity that made the filmmakers take notice. His scenes had a raw energy that made it impossible to look away. People started whispering that something was happening. At 21, he stepped into Risky Business, a film that would change the course of his life. The script simply said Joel dances in underwear, but Tom let instinct take over. He turned it into a wild, free moment that captured exactly how it feels when a teenager lets loose with no one watching. That single dance, created in the moment, launched him from unknown to star. Risky Business turned a $6 million budget into more than $63 million, and Tom's name became a household fixture. Opportunity kept rising. When Top Gun came along, he initially refused. He did not want to play a fighter pilot, but the Navy offered him a flight in an F-14. During that violent, stomach-turning ride with Lieutenant Commander Lloyd Abel, Tom vomited into a plastic bag and then felt a rush so powerful that his whole body shook. He signed on as soon as they landed. The film made $357 million on a $15 million budget and earned him $2 million. The world now saw him as Maverick. Yet instead of settling into action roles, Tom made a deliberate shift. He chose The Color of Money in 1986, with Paul Newman to prove he could stand beside legends. Then he took on Rain Man in 1988, earning $3 million while the film earned $355 million and won Best Picture. He pushed even further with Born on the 4th of July in 1989, spending weeks in a wheelchair to understand what life felt like for Ron Kovic. His dedication was so intense that Kovic gifted him his own Bronze Star Medal on Tom's birthday. By 1989, at just 27, Tom Cruise had become the highest-paid actor in Hollywood. His salary jumped from $75,000 for Risky Business to $12.5 million for A Few Good Men, only a decade later. Success followed him, yet shadows followed too. Long before the world began questioning his personal life, his marriage to Mimi Rogers had begun shaping a different narrative. They wed on May 9, 1987, in a quiet ceremony witnessed by a few friends. Mimi, who was 31, introduced him to Scientology, a religion deeply tied to her family. She believed the practices might calm him and help him heal old wounds. But their marriage grew strained. She later revealed he considered becoming a monk and believed celibacy might strengthen his spiritual purity. She joked that her own instrument needed tuning, hinting that their intimacy had faded long before the marriage ended. Patterns began forming around Tom's relationships. Mimi was 33 when they divorced, and so was Nicole Kidman when their marriage ended, and Katie Holmes when theirs collapsed years later. Each woman was born exactly 11 years apart. The entire sequence looked strange enough that people began whispering theories, trying to understand what it meant. During the filming of Days of Thunder in 1989, Tom fell into an intense relationship with Nicole Kidman before his divorce from Mimi was even finalized. He pushed for Nicole to be cast in the film after seeing her in Dead Calm. Their chemistry off-camera became so obvious that household staff found them together only weeks after his separation paperwork was filed. By December 1990, he married her with Scientology leader David Miscavige standing beside him as best man. After the divorce, Mimi spoke more openly about what had gone wrong. She said Tom became calculating and that Scientology's expectations pressed heavily on their marriage. Former church insiders later claimed the organization itself played a direct role in ending it. Mimi was forced into strange auditing sessions where she answered the same two questions over and over about what she had done to Tom. The pressure and the manipulation pushed her away for good, and she left the church in 1990. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman did not ease into love. They crashed into it. On December 24, 1990, they were married in a quiet, 30-minute civil ceremony at a ski resort in Telluride, Colorado. It happened just 10 months after Tom's divorce from Mimi Rogers was finalized in January 1990. Nicole was only 23. Tom was 28. They had met on the set of Days of Thunder, and the pull between them was immediate. Years later, Tom admitted in a 1995 interview that his first reaction to Nicole was pure lust, and that it was completely physical. Nicole said she fell madly and passionately in love and would have gone anywhere for him. Only a small group of family members witnessed the ceremony, yet the speed and intensity of it all turned them into one of the most glamorous couples of the entire 1990s, almost overnight. Not long after the wedding, reality began to press in. Nicole struggled to get pregnant. Early in the marriage, when she was just 23, she suffered an ectopic pregnancy that nearly broke her emotionally. After repeated failed attempts to conceive, they chose adoption. In 1992, they adopted Isabella Jane Cruz as a newborn. On January 17, 1995, they adopted their second child, Connor Anthony, shortly after his birth in Florida. The children were raised as strict Scientologists and were homeschooled. Years later, reports would reveal that Scientology played a major role in why both children became estranged from Nicole after the divorce. When Isabella was 8 and Connor was 6, their parents' marriage collapsed, leaving wounds that never fully healed. By the late 1990s, cracks were already forming behind the scenes. In 1999, Tom and Nicole starred together in Eyes Wide Shut, directed by Stanley Kubrick. What was meant to be a 6-month shoot turned into a grueling 15-month ordeal. earning a Guinness World Record for the longest continuous film shoot. They moved to London in fall 1996, expecting to return home by spring. Instead, they stayed through summer, fall, and another Christmas, finally wrapping in January 1998, only to be called back again for reshoots months later. Nicole later admitted that Kubrick was actively mining their real marriage to shape the film. He directed Tom and Nicole separately and banned them from discussing scenes together. At one point, Nicole was required to film 6 straight days of explicit nude scenes with a male model, performing over 50 positions, while Tom was barred from the set and Nicole was forbidden from talking about it. By the end, even co-stars noticed Tom seemed emotionally drained and hollow. Then came the moment that stunned Hollywood. On February 5, 2001, Tom filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Nicole was exactly 33 years old. What made it chilling was the pattern. Mimi Rogers was also 33 when Tom divorced her in 1990. Years later, Katie Holmes would be 33 when he filed for divorce from her in 2012. Each wife was also 11 years younger than the previous one. Tom filed the paperwork in Los Angeles, listing December 2000 as the separation date. Publicly, they blamed demanding careers. Privately, everything was falling apart. The heartbreak deepened weeks later when it emerged that Nicole had been pregnant at the time Tom filed. In early March 2001, she miscarried at a Los Angeles hospital. Reports stated she was about 3 months pregnant. Her publicist confirmed the loss, but asked for privacy. It was Nicole's second pregnancy loss during the marriage. Years later, she admitted the divorce was a total shock, and that she had no idea it was coming. She spent years in therapy trying to process it. In a 2012 interview, she said she fell into severe depression and had to dig deep just to survive. While Nicole retreated inward, Tom moved further into Scientology. By 2004, he had risen to become the second most powerful figure in the entire Church of Scientology, ranking just below leader David Miscavige. At the church's 40th anniversary celebration, Miscavige personally awarded him the Freedom Medal of Valor in front of 5,000 people. His acceptance speech, secretly filmed and later leaked in January 2008, caused global backlash. Wearing a black turtleneck with the Mission Impossible theme playing, Tom declared Scientologists were the only true authorities on the mind and the only ones who could help at accident scenes. The church scrambled to erase the video from the internet, but the damage was done. In April 2005, Tom began dating Katie Holmes. He was 42. She was 26. She had once openly said she had a childhood crush on him. Behind the scenes, former Scientology executives later claimed the church had previously arranged another relationship for Tom that failed because he wanted someone with her own power, like Nicole. After that ended, attention turned to Katie. She was raised Catholic, but began studying Scientology almost immediately. Just 2 months later, at the Batman Begins premiere on June 13, 2005, she publicly announced her conversion. They were engaged in Paris only 7 weeks after meeting. Then came the moment that rewired Tom's public image forever. On May 23, 2005, during an appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show, Tom lost all restraint. He jumped repeatedly on Oprah's couch, dropped to his knees, and pumped his fists while declaring his love for Katie. Oprah tried to calm him, asking what had happened to him. Millions of viewers watched in disbelief. For many, that was the moment his reputation cracked for good. It only got worse. On June 23, 2005, Tom appeared on The Today Show and aggressively attacked Brooke Shields for using antidepressants after postpartum depression. He dismissed psychiatric medication entirely and snapped at Matt Lauer on live television. The backlash was immediate. His Q rating collapsed by nearly 40%. Shortly after, Viacom chairman Sumner Redstone terminated Tom's long-term production deal with Paramount, stating his conduct was unacceptable. Despite the chaos, Tom and Katie married on November 18, 2006, at Castello Orsini Odescalchi, near Rome. Their daughter Suri had already been born on April 18, 2006. The wedding looked like a fairy tale, but behind it, Katie was already quietly planning her escape. On June 29, 2012, after 5.5 years of marriage, she filed for divorce in New York. Sources later revealed she feared losing Suri to Scientology and panicked after learning her daughter could be sent away for weeks on a Scientology ship. What followed was one of Hollywood's most carefully executed exits. Using a disposable phone, Katie secretly contacted lawyers, rented an apartment in Manhattan, and worked with 3 law firms across multiple states. Her father helped plan everything. Tom was blindsided. Just 11 days later, the divorce was finalized. Katie secured full custody. Tom agreed to pay $400,000 per year in child support, totaling $4.8 million over 12 years, along with all education, medical, and living expenses. Katie received no spousal support. Speed and freedom mattered more than money. In 2013, during a deposition, Tom finally admitted Katie left in part to protect Suri from Scientology. He also confirmed Suri was not practicing Scientology. Since 2012, Tom has not been photographed with his daughter. That silence now stretches over 12 years, more than 4,380 days. When Suri turned 18 in April 2024, she dropped Cruise from her name and graduated as Suri Noel. Tom was not there. It starts with one simple truth about Tom Cruise, and everything else flows from there. He does his own stunts. Not some of them, all of them. For more than 40 years, he has refused doubles and safety shortcuts, turning danger into part of his craft. That choice reshaped action movies and slowly pushed him into territory no other A-list actor dares to enter. In the Mission Impossible films, the risk kept rising. He climbed the 828-meter Burj Khalifa in Dubai with no green screen. He clung to the side of a real Airbus A400 by thousands of feet in the air. He wanted the audience to feel real fear because he was feeling it too. In Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, he took that obsession even further, jumping from a helicopter with a flaming parachute 16 times in one sequence. That act earned a Guinness World Record on June 4, 2025, and locked in his reputation as cinema's ultimate daredevil. That hunger for realism nearly cost him his career on August 13, 2017, while filming Mission Impossible Fallout in London. The stunt looked simple on paper. Leap between 2 buildings, hit the wall, pull yourself up and keep running. But when Cruise jumped, his foot struck the wall at the wrong angle. His ankle snapped instantly. You can see it happen in the final cut. Instead of stopping, he hauled himself up, limped past the camera, and finished the take before collapsing. Later, on The Graham Norton Show, he admitted he knew immediately that his ankle was broken and simply did not want to repeat the jump. Production shut down for 7 weeks. Cruise spent 6 weeks rehabbing up to 12 hours a day just to get back on set. The limp in the movie was not acting. It was pain moving forward. Years later, while making Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, that same refusal to back down nearly shattered his back. One sequence required Cruise to fight on the wing of a biplane at high altitude. During filming, the aircraft flipped upside down. Cruise grabbed a seatbelt strap as gravity pulled him away from the plane. The force bent his body in ways it was never meant to bend. He later admitted the stunt almost broke his back. Director Christopher McQuarrie described watching it as agonizing. The pressure of the inverted flight separated joints in Cruise's fingers as he clung on. By the end of the shoot, Both hands were badly swollen. The pain did not fade quickly. It followed him for weeks, another quiet cost of keeping everything real. That mindset explains why his Halo jump for Mission Impossible Fallout became one of the most dangerous stunts ever filmed. Cruise jumped from 25,000 feet over Abu Dhabi more than 106 times across 12 days. Before every jump, he breathed pure oxygen for 20 minutes to avoid decompression sickness. Medical teams stood ready with helicopters and decompression chambers. At first, the stunt was nearly canceled. Military rules limited jumps to 12,000 feet. Then, fate intervened. His broken ankle delayed production, opening a narrow window to film in Abu Dhabi, where higher jumps were allowed. Cruise trained for over a year, completing 500 practice skydives and 13,000 motocross jumps. What appears on screen for seconds took years of preparation. All that risk came with enormous reward. Across 8 Mission Impossible films, Cruise earned between $420,000 and $435,000. His deals were unusual. Instead of a fixed paycheck, he secured 20 to 30% of gross box office revenue plus producer fees. The first film in 1996 earned him about $70,000. Mission Impossible 2 in 2000 and The 3 in 2006 paid roughly $75,000 each. Fallout alone brought in around $50,000 as it crossed $791,000 worldwide. Even when his base salary dropped to $12,000 to $14,000 for Dead Reckoning Part 1 in 2023, back-end profits pushed the total far higher. That structure is why his net worth now sits near $600,000. Away from the cameras, Cruise once tried to build something just as permanent. In 1994, after years of planning, he completed a 10,000-square-foot home on 320 acres near Telluride, Colorado, at the base of Wilson Peak, which rises 14,023 feet. Built with Oregon deadwood, cedar timbers, and native stone, the 7-bedroom, 9-bathroom ranch was meant to be a sanctuary. It became the place where the world first saw him with Katie Holmes and their newborn daughter Suri in a 2006 Vanity Fair shoot. A mile-long gated driveway and surrounding national forest gave him privacy he could not find elsewhere. For a while, it felt like the life he wanted. That ranch doubled as a playground. Dirt bike tracks cut through the land. Snowmobiles ran across open stretches. Trails wound through forest for long rides. Inside, there were game rooms, fireplaces, terraces, and a separate guest lodge tucked into aspen trees. In 2008, Oprah Winfrey visited and interviewed Cruise there, sitting on his couch after their earlier public fallout. For a moment, the place represented balance. Adventure outside, family inside. Then it all collapsed. On June 29, 2012, Katie Holmes filed for divorce. The process was fast and surgical. By July 11th, just 11 days later, the settlement was finalized and Holmes received primary custody of 6-year-old Suri. During a deposition in September 2012, Cruise admitted under oath that the divorce was meant to protect Suri from Scientology. He also revealed he saw his daughter only 10 days total between June and Thanksgiving that year. The ranch became unbearable. By 2014, he quietly tried selling it for $59,000. It did not move. He stayed away, unable to return to the place where his family had once been whole. 7 years passed. In March 2021, Cruise finally listed the property publicly for $39,500, a $19,500 drop. The cut worked. Within weeks, an undisclosed buyer purchased it at full asking price. The sale closed in May 2021. After more than 30 years of dreaming, building, and loving that land, Cruise let it go because he no longer used it. The real reason sat beneath that explanation. Suri would never be there again. By late January 2026, another quiet exit followed. At 63, Cruz abruptly left his Knightsbridge penthouse overlooking Hyde Park in London. Boxes were removed on January 24th and 25. Staff said it happened fast and without warning. He had lived there for over 4 years after buying it in 2021 for between $35,000 and $47,000. No explanation came. His representatives stayed silent. Speculation filled the gap. His older children stayed far closer to Scientology. Isabella, now 32, became a certified auditor and publicly thanked her father for introducing her to the church. Connor, now 30, moved deeper into Scientology operations after living in Cruz's Clearwater penthouse. Nicole Kidman, their adoptive mother, remained distant after leaving the church in 2000. Suri's path moved the other way. Now 19 and attending Carnegie Mellon University, she has not been publicly seen with Cruz since 2012. She legally changed her surname to Noel, her mother's middle name. Under the divorce agreement, Cruz pays about $65,000 per year for her education. In early 2026, sources said he wants to rebuild the relationship, hoping to listen rather than control. Whether that bridge can still be built remains uncertain. Despite $600,000 in wealth, insiders describe Cruz as lonely. His relationship with Ana de Armas ended in October 2025 after 8 months. Those close to him say his 16-hour workdays and non-stop pursuit of stardom leave little room for real connection. Today, his main residence is a $10,000, $20,000 square foot penthouse in Clearwater, Florida, steps from Scientology headquarters. It has pools, simulators, private elevators, and survived Hurricane Milton in October 2024 untouched. Physically, it is a fortress. Emotionally, it reflects a man who risked everything on screen and lost much of what mattered off it.